Green card holders, listen up, something big just happened. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services USCIS and the Department of Homeland Security DHS just rolled out major rule changes that could directly impact your legal status, your travel rights, and even your path to U.S. citizenship, starting this month, July 2025. We're not talking about minor tweaks. We're talking about real changes that affect re-entry permits, green card renewals, and how long you can stay abroad without risking your permanent resident status. And for those applying for naturalization soon, there's a new scrutiny process for background checks, document validation, and even work history verification, and it's catching a lot of people off guard. Plus, USCIS processing times have just shifted again. Some cases are now being prioritized while others are suddenly delayed with no warning. If you're waiting for a travel document or adjustment of status, this affects you. In this video, I'll break it all down: what's changed, how it affects green card holders, and what steps you need to take right now to stay protected. You deserve to be informed and prepared, not blindsided. So if you're a permanent resident or know someone who is, this isn't just a news update, it's a critical alert you can't afford to ignore. Don't miss out. Hit that like button so this information reaches more green card holders who need it right now. Let's protect our community together. All right, let's dive right in, because what's happening right now with USCIS and DHS isn't just a bureaucratic update. It's something that could touch every part of your life as a green card holder. Whether you've been living in the U.S. for 5 years or 15, the changes that went into effect this July could impact your future in ways many aren't prepared for. So here's the truth. A lot of green card holders feel a false sense of security. And hey, it's totally understandable. Once you've got that permanent resident card in your hand, you feel like the big fight is over, you've made it. But the reality is, being a permanent resident comes with a ton of responsibilities and ongoing risks, especially when the rules are shifting right under our feet. Let's start with something that's already causing confusion: international travel. Under the new DHS policy adjustment released earlier this month, the criteria for what qualifies as abandonment of residence have tightened. That means if you've been traveling back and forth to your home country or staying abroad for extended periods, even for family emergencies or caregiving, your green card status might now be more vulnerable than ever before. Before, spending more than 6 months outside the U.S. would raise red flags, but now even shorter stays are being looked at more closely if they're frequent or poorly documented. And here's the kicker. DHS is now recommending that border agents exercise more discretion when evaluating a returning permanent resident's intent to live in the U.S. What does that mean for you? It means that your conversation at the airport with Customs and Border Protection could become much more detailed. They might ask about your job, your home, your family ties, anything that helps them determine whether you still maintain the intent to live permanently in the U.S. So even if you have a valid green card, a careless answer or missing document could create a real mess. But that's not all. Let's talk about re-entry permits. These used to be a fairly routine safeguard if you needed to stay abroad for more than a year. Now, there's a change to how USCIS processes them. They're tightening the eligibility checks and scrutinizing the reasons for your long absence more thoroughly. If your reason doesn't clearly fit within the DHS's updated list of acceptable circumstances, like military service, long-term job assignments, or compelling family needs, you could face delays, denials, or worse, questions about whether you've abandoned your status altogether. Then there's the issue of green card renewals. Most permanent residents don't think about this until their card is close to expiring, which makes sense. But what many don't realize is that even if your card is expired or close to it, your legal status as a permanent resident technically remains. However, that plastic card is your proof. And as of July 2025, USCIS has implemented a new layer of verification for certain renewal applications. If there are any gaps in your travel history, unresolved criminal or civil issues, or inconsistencies with past applications, your renewal could be delayed. And in some cases, They're even issuing requests for evidence RFEs that demand additional documentation or personal interviews, something that used to be rare. Now, let's shift gears and talk about naturalization, because I know many of you are planning to apply for U.S. citizenship, or you're already somewhere in the process. One of the biggest shifts in 2025 is the new background verification protocol that USCIS quietly began piloting earlier this year, and as of July, it's being rolled out nationwide. What's different about it? It's far more automated, uses artificial intelligence tools, and pulls data from more sources than ever before. That includes things like your IRS records, Department of Labor data, DMV records, even public social media content in some cases. And it's all used to cross-check the information you provide on your N400 application. Now, let me be really clear here. If you've always been honest, you probably don't have anything to worry about. But even honest people make mistakes. Maybe you accidentally forgot to list a short trip abroad, or you misunderstood a question about employment history. Under the new system, even small discrepancies could trigger delays, secondary reviews, or denials. The margin for error has gotten a lot smaller. That's why it's more important than ever to double-check your documents, consult a trusted immigration advisor if possible, and don't rush through the process just because you're eager to get it done. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Let's talk about processing times. USCIS just updated its official timeline estimates, and it's a bit of a mixed bag. On the one hand, they've committed to speeding up certain humanitarian and family-based petitions. That's great news for spouses, children, and people with urgent needs. But on the flip side, some employment-based green card adjustments and routine renewals are now falling to the bottom of the pile. If your case is one of those, you could be waiting several months longer than expected, and that's not something you want to discover when you've already made travel plans or are facing an employment deadline. Another new element this month is the implementation of a fraud prevention initiative aimed at uncovering document manipulation and false claims in immigration applications. While the target of this program is primarily bad actors, it's already led to more RFEs and even denials for applicants with incomplete or hard-to-verify documents. And let's be honest, not everyone has a perfect paper trail, especially if they've had to rebuild their lives after moving here, changing jobs, or going through tough personal situations. That's why this next point is so crucial. You have to be proactive. Don't wait for USCIS to send you a notice to fix something that's broken. Check your records. Review your travel history. Make sure your address is up to date with both USCIS and the USPS. And if you're applying for naturalization, don't rely on memory. Get your past tax returns, your W-2s, your travel documents, and line everything up before you hit submit. And please, don't assume that just because your friend or cousin had a smooth experience 2 years ago, you will too. The landscape is different now. The scrutiny is higher. The risks are real. And the last thing I want is for any of you to fall through the cracks simply because no one told you what was changing. Look, I get it. All this might sound overwhelming. You might be thinking, how am I supposed to keep up with all of this while working, raising a family, or just trying to live my life? And you're right, it is a lot. But that's exactly why I make these videos. Because you shouldn't have to feel confused or alone when navigating something as important as your immigration journey. And if you're watching this and you've already been impacted by delays, RFEs, or confusing policy changes, please know this. You are not alone. There's a whole community out there of immigrants, legal experts, and advocates working to share the truth, support each other, and stay informed. And by watching this video, you're already taking an important step to protect your status and your future. So here's what you can do next. If any part of this video applies to you, whether it's travel plans, a renewal, or an upcoming naturalization application, start preparing today. Don't wait until the last minute. Small steps now can save you months of stress and possibly even legal trouble down the line. And if this video helped you understand what's changing or made you feel just a little more prepared, then do me a quick favor. Hit that like button right now. Not just to support the channel, but because when you do, YouTube shows this video to more people, more green card holders just like you who might have no idea these changes even happened. Let's help each other stay safe, informed, and empowered. Because in a system that's always shifting, knowledge really is your greatest protection. Thanks for watching. Stay informed, stay prepared, and most importantly, stay strong.